A very aggressive criticism of the potential Paw Sox move to Providence tonight. Welcome into My State of Mind. I am Dan York, a visiting professor to Brown University, has some very strong things to say about the idea that the Paw Sox can move to Providence and that the red carpet ought to be laid out. Actually, it's interesting. Tomorrow, Jim Skeffington, the new Paw Sox owner, is doing a walking tour of the land of 195 next to the river that he thinks would be suitable for his brand new downtown urban ballpark. So this is timely. Stay with us for that. How's everybody? Good? Good. Let's go to the rundown because we got a lot to cover tonight, if you don't mind. That's all I could think when I saw this story. Connecticut, one of 3 states, now taking Indiana on. Unbelievable. Well, we got problems in the world. We don't need states fighting each other this way. The controversy continues in Cranston over Good Friday. I mean, you want to talk about screwing something up. School system's doing a good job of that one. Yes, nomination for Dumb Bill of the Week, which might be a regular feature here because this is the season where a lot of dumb ideas come out of our General Assembly. And what else do we have here? Yep, they've rested. It took them all of one day. Told you, very predictable scenario there. And this young lady, I wrote something about this subject matter and scratched it all off. And you'll know why in just a matter of moments. And of course, we always like to think that you've got something important to say to us. Your state of mind is important to me, that is for sure. Let us dig in to our rundown for this evening. Really? In America? What are you kidding me? The Connecticut travel ban headline right here? Okay, so Connecticut's one of 3 states that is ordering non-essential personnel not to go to Indiana for any reason, meaning state employees. Here's a package on it that kind of explains the nonsense from Governor Malloy.
They knew exactly what they were doing. They got caught. They got caught.
Connecticut's governor is not ready to reverse his executive order banning state-funded travel to Indiana. He's pretty much telling Indiana to get its act together.
We want to make it clear that Indiana is open for business.
Now, under extreme pressure, Indiana's governor has told lawmakers to go back and revise language in a newly passed religious freedom law, which allows businesses to deny services to gays. Meanwhile, the Final Four is in Indianapolis this weekend. The Huskies are not in the tournament, but the coaching staff is scheduled to travel. However, neither the governor nor UConn can say how a travel ban will play out.
I don't know. Why don't you call UConn?
They won't say. They won't say, Governor. I don't know. Why don't you call UConn? So the UConn president has denied permission for Kevin Ollie, the coach of UConn, and his management team there, the coaches, to go to the Final Four. This is kind of a end-of-year seminar, trade show, networking event for these coaches. It's something that all the Division I coaches go to, and this is outrageous. This kind of pressure being put on by one state to another while they're trying to work out how this whole thing feels comfortable with the Hoosier constituency. I mean, they've got a right to deliberate their own public issues, don't they? What's the, really? Why don't we just load up a cannon from Connecticut to Indiana and bomb them? I mean, this is as dumb and, frankly, arrogant and manipulative and opportunistic and disingenuous, and I could go on as anything I've seen from any politicians lately. By the way, Connecticut has their own version of this federal law. Rhode Island has their own version of this federal law. I hope Gina Raimondo doesn't get the contagious disease from Malloy and tell Danny Hurley that he can't go to the Final Four. And by the way, what would have happened if UConn made the Final Four in Indianapolis? Oh, all of a sudden, I guess it wouldn't be such a principled notion, would it? Phony. Next item. Good Friday controversy here continues. The WPRI.com headline. Yeah, well, now that they got a couple hundred plus that have put in, it looks like they're a little jammed up. Here's what some of the parents are saying about the chance that Cranston schools might be closed for Good Friday because teachers are exercising their Observance Day option.
Potentially, I might even have to take the day out of work myself. So, as you can see, that kind of puts me in a bind as well.
And we have so many makeup days already from the snow, so just have school and get on with it.
That's one point of view, but look, this is the history on this is that the Cranston school system, I guess, gave some raises to the teacher assistants, not the teachers union, as I understand, according to a caller to WPRO that was pretty credible today, weekdays noon to 3, of course, the Dan York Show. And so as part of it, they took back Good Friday as a holiday. Does that make any sense to you? Now, of course, the Jewish holidays in the fall are important to Jewish teachers, and so the school system came up in the contract with this idea that they would have 2 observance days. Well, Christians, are burning their observance days on Good Friday. It's not important or germane to the conversation that I bet you more than a good portion of the 200 teachers that aren't going to show up for work on Good Friday are probably going to head to a golf course if one's open or the mall. This whole Jesus thing gets lost on Good Friday, don't we know? But the school system has backed itself into a corner. In fact, it's so funny, they actually tried to make the teachers prove that they were religious. Here's the union president, Elizabeth Larkin, exasperated on the radio with WPRO News.
A few Christians put in early. They only had to call in the night before, but they put in early. They put in like early February, and they got denied. They said they needed documentation. I'm like, what? And so anyway, you have to document your faith. So I said to the people, you don't have to document anything. Nobody else has to document anything. So then a few people put in again, and they did send documentation. Can you imagine? They sent notes from priests, notes from ministers, church calendars, church bulletins. They started sending these things in, and they were still denied.
So the teacher was like, I don't know, I'm not going to call father because he knows never go to church. Can somebody get bulletin? Do you go to church? Could you grab one of those bulletin things from the pew and maybe I can send that in? Look, I'm sure there's some devout Christians that need the observance time. So I'm with the teachers on this. The Cranston school system has completely screwed this thing up. And they should just, and by the way, the notice is going to be given like at 6 o'clock in the morning on Friday. And if they do that, the parents ought to have plenty to say to the school system. Don't blame the teachers on this one. All righty, dumb bill of the week, Providence Journal. Headline, pharmacies oppose bill banning tobacco. Come on, really? Representative Catherine Kazarian from East Providence, the latest dummy do-gooder in the General Assembly, because CVS made a voluntary decision a while back to eliminate tobacco from their shelves because it didn't match up with their corporate wellness strategy. She thinks, well, it doesn't look right to have tobacco on the shelves at drugstores, so we're going to make it illegal in the state. The independents, the one-stop shop drugstores out there that are surviving in this business climate, you're going to do that to them, Catherine? You want to have a bigger picture conversation about making tobacco illegal, period? Let's do that. But until you have the temerity to do that, shush, stop it. Dumb bill of the week. Next one. The defense rests. I don't know why we say that. It's kind of a court given. But it's not like they were that tired. Here's the headline, and here's the story behind it.
The defense rested after it called the last 2 of its 4 witnesses Tuesday. Digital forensics expert Mark Spencer told jurors older brother Tamerlan Tsarnaev's computer revealed internet searches for radio transmitters, fireworks, and gun stores in the weeks leading up to the attack. The pressure cooker bombs that blew up at the marathon each contained explosive powder used in fireworks, nails, and a radio transmitter. Spencer said Johar's computer history showed no such searches. Instead, the younger brother mostly visited social networking sites like Facebook. But they contend he was only following his brother's lead. They argued Tamerlan was the mastermind of the attacks. Jurors will hear closing arguments on Monday.
Such a predictable script, right? 4 witnesses, don't get a nosebleed. Look, they're conceding that he did it. The whole thing is about the brother made him do it. And the jury will finally fall on that, and they won't fry this guy, and they won't inject him, and they won't send him to the death penalty, and we know that, which just amplifies my, if I'm wrong, I'll eat my hat. I'm telling you, this has been a waste of time. It has crushed the soul of too many folks having to relive this thing. We should have thrown the key away, said a prayer, and been done with it. The winning essay, this young lady is the essay contest winner. Now, we've been talking about whether it was right for the governor to help promote this thing. You know, only girls qualified. And I had a little commentary about what the young lady wrote, about what she'd like to see if she was the governor. But then, just before the show, Jess and Kev showed me the mommy, and, well.
I'm very proud, Mommy. I'm just very, very proud, Mommy. And we work all the time, and then sometimes as a parents, you wonder, do we have enough time for her, or do we do enough, and then stuff like this, and kind of assures, yeah, I'm doing okay.
All right, I'm not breaking down the fifth grader's essay. Not when mommy is emoting like that. She's proud, her daughter won, congratulations to the family. Let's move on. Scratch my notes. Maybe tomorrow. It's Holy Week. Your state of mind is important to us. 228-1886, state of mind at MyRightTV.com, Dan York Show, Facebook, and Twitter. Here's some phone reaction. What is this?
Why are they going to change it? They always had the date. The kids always had those 2 days off. Why are they changing it?
I think she's talking about the Cranston school system situation. Well, what 2 days? Good Friday's 1 day. It was more than 2 days for Jesus. It was a lot of sacrifice and a lot of suffering. But I'm not sure. Is she talking about Holy Thursday? You know, the Good Friday used to be matched up against, I mean, the calendars generally roll out with the spring vacation, but that's not until the following week, and so everyone's all messed up. I don't know. What they used to do. How come they never do what they used to do? All right, when we come back, the arguments against Providence Baseball Park. Stay with us. So tomorrow is kind of a day for Jim Skeffington, the new owner of the Paw Sox. He's going to walk around the land, and he says it would be great to hit balls to right field. Going, gone into the river. Here's what he told newsmakers about his ideas.
We need a place, if we can find a place in Rhode Island that is an urban ballpark. We want to create a state-of-the-art, well-situated, strategically located baseball park. Plan B is to cry. I really want to keep it in Rhode Island. That's my passion. That's my objective. That's Larry's wish as well, and the Red Sox. We have a long, successful history in Rhode Island. We'd like to preserve that, continue the tradition.
That is actually from a news conference when they first announced that they purchased the Paw Sox, Skeffington, Lucchino, the whole crowd. And their plan is to move it to Providence. Lou Mazzucchelli is a visiting scholar at Brown University, teaches business classes there, a business guy and consultant here in town, and very strong feelings about this.
I don't think he could be more wrong.
Meaning?
Well, we can start. It's bad urban planning.
Oh, I thought you said I couldn't be more
No.
wrong.
Mr. Skeffington couldn't be more wrong.
Gotcha.
It's bad urban policy. It's a fixed-use space when the city really deserves a multi-use space in that park space. You could build it with berms. You could have amphitheaters. You could have different kinds of things going on. You put a stadium there. It's a fixed use. You can do maybe a concert or ball games. Number one. Number two, it's bad economic development. Every study you can get tells you that these things really don't add to the economic climate of the state, especially if you're basically translating it from one place to another. Thirdly, it's bad for Pawtucket, and it takes away an affordable entertainment venue for people. I mean, you can take a family and go to Paw Sox game for $50. I do it, with my wife and my kids. That's going to change, and the Pawtucket audience is basically going to be abandoned. These people clearly have a vision of some world-class facility. That means higher prices. You can expect ticket prices to go up, concession prices to go up, parking to go up from $0 to $10, $20, $30. You figure it out. So they're going to lose their core audience, and there's been nothing to demonstrate that any demographic study has been done to show where the next audience is going to come from.
Well, there's no doubt. Okay, so that's a very well articulated outline on why, and I'm sure you've got more reasons as to why this whole thing is a bad idea. Now, I'm not here to defend it, so let me play the role of devil's advocate here for a second. Although I have said that I think we need to keep an open mind, I have said that I think this is a psychological boost. It may not be a tangible economic boost. I am hearing that these folks actually had the dibs on, or have the dibs on, trying to either partner with the new expanded parking garage and or buy it so that they can make ticket prices and parking more of a package situation, preventing the kind of $10, $20 parking fees that you project might go there. I don't think it's unreasonable to make the assumptions you have made. And I think you're correct that they see a new audience and that they are abandoning one. That's their business model, to be determined. What's the risk and the big problem for us?
Okay, a couple of things. First of all, I think it's bad business. I think their business model is predicated on a huge public giveaway. All right, if they actually have to buy the land at market and finance the stadium, that's going to be, pick a number, 60, 70, 80, $100 million. The Paw Sox sold 535,000 tickets last year. Let's take an average ticket price of $10. That's a $5.3 million top line business. Maybe they make 10%, maybe they made $500,000. What's the cost to service the debt if these guys had to spend $100 million? It's $400,000 a month.
Well, I think you're probably, I think you're right on it, and I think that's one of the reasons why they don't want to do that.
Well, and I think it's cynical. I mean, I've had conversations with people about this, and they look at me and they say, hey, it's going to happen, the fix is in. This is Rhode Island. And that's you know, our typical crony, we're going to jam this down the throats of the ratepayers. And what I think is going to happen is, they're going to do this. They're going to take that land, which is not the highest and best use of the land. They're going to put a stadium there. They're going to lose the Pawtucket audience. They are not going to build a new audience. The business is going to crater, and we're going to be stuck with another white elephant in Providence, just like 38 Studios. We're paying $119 per taxpayer to get ourselves out of that one.
Listen, I'm so impressed with your argument. I don't buy it all, but I'm impressed with it. Now I'm deflated. Because the 38 Studios thing is a corrupt business deal that was rammed through a legislature, not paying attention, stealth in nature, that if it was ever repeated, it would be impossible to repeat. It stands as the biggest mistake the government has made in recent history, but it's not comparable to this kind of a project.
Well, we haven't seen that yet. We haven't seen any public disclosure about the business model, public disclosure about the financing model. Let's see.
True. That's all I've said, which is, and again, I feel like we're debating, which is good. Why don't we see what the plan is, man? And this, you're feeding, let me ask, I want to make sure I understood you correctly. Are you feeding in to this cronyism, dirty deal, back deal, it's already done, fixes in type of mentality? Can we give a couple of local business guys and folks from Boston the benefit of the doubt that they actually think this is a legitimate project?
Well, you have to look at the history of these people.
And that they have to do it the right way?
You have to look at what they've done before, first of all.
Well,
okay?
Skeffington is
pattern
the architect of the kind of bond that brought us 38
pattern of behavior.
Studios. I get
Secondly,
I don't know what the pattern of what pattern of behavior?
Well, yeah, the whole moral obligation bond thing. Okay, I mean, that's a problem. Just separate discussion. But if these guys had come in and said, look, we're going to take our own money, we're going to buy the land, we're going to do it, yay, verily, let them go for it.
Well, they say they want to build it, they just don't want to buy the land.
Well, I'm sorry.
Tell me, Lou, tell me where in America and in New England today where a ballpark project both buys the land and builds the stadium.
Well, you know, it's interesting.
Where?
Historically, that hasn't happened, but there's a move afoot to stop that finally because there has been no benefit to taxpayers in doing that. The president just last week, I think, wanted to propose a thing saying no public financing for football stadiums. Okay, there is no economic benefit to anybody in the long term other than the developers when these things happen. The ancillary business stuff just generally doesn't materialize. And study has been done about this.
I've looked at a couple of those. A thought on that, and the option for Pawtucket, who sits there in a funny spot. Take a look. You're still fighting.
Right.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, what do you think your chances are of saving this deal?
No, I mean, it's probably 1 or 2.
But worth fighting for?
Absolutely, no, it's worth fighting for. Okay. There's a lot of value.
There's Don Grebian, who was here just a couple of weeks ago, the mayor of Pawtucket. I want to get back to a couple of options in Providence, but you've got some thoughts, Lou, about what you think Pawtucket ought to be doing.
Well, Pawtucket, first of all, you know, someone's going to go to Pawtucket and say, we built this new stadium in Providence, let's tear McCoy down because we don't need it anymore. To me, that would be a horrible mistake. I mean, if I were Pawtucket, I would be basically trying to offer the product that's a great match between the marketplace and my facility and say, well, I'll compete with Providence. I mean, go out, find a AA, single A. Sure you can.
No, you can't.
Sure you could.
No, you got baseball regional restrictions that preclude that option.
There might be a way around it with a different league. There might be a way.
What, the league that they use in Bridgeport?
Yeah, the Northern League.
Nobody goes to those games.
But people don't go because it's the Red Sox. They go because it's a cheap night out. If you offer a cheap night out with fireworks and a place you can take the kids, you could probably probably do that okay, and McCoy's paid for it.
I understand your sentiment, but I don't see how an alternative league would fill that void. However, you gave me some notes here about the disposition that Pawtucket ought to have. I find it interesting to see how Don Grebbian, the mayor, is going to handle this. You know, does he become a passive victim over the next couple of years, or do they like throw the pedal to the metal and make it really uncomfortable for the Paw Sox?
Well, I don't think there's any downside for them to not make it uncomfortable for the Paw Sox. I mean, the Paw Sox have basically thrown their cards on the table
So
and
how
said
would they
we're
do
out
that?
of here. They could hold them to every minute term of their lease proposal, make sure they pay for everything, no gimmies, no extra benefits beyond the contractual terms.
Well, remember, the team has a lease with the state, which has a lease with the city.
I understand, but you know, I would just make it as uncomfortable as possible without driving them out to let them know that
Well, I think
you notice this.
the uncomfortable as possible is a political option, and the political option could be that, you know, you rally every damn night of the 72 nights that they are there, and you make it pathetically uncomfortable for those 2 years, so their pro forma is hit hard. I mean, that is an all-in type of strategy to make this thing a political conversation for at least 2 summers.
Well,
worth
certainly,
of,
if you
of
took their
meetings.
if you took their attendance down, you know, 20% or so,
Right, that would hurt.
That would make a difference. Absolutely make a
And
difference.
so that is an option that they have, but it's the third rail. I mean, it's declaring war.
But if there's no other alternative, maybe that's what you have to do.
Yeah, I mean, eventually that stadium's going to come down if they move somewhere. It's going to come down, and the state's going to have to. If the state has a hand in subsidizing a new stadium in the city, it's going to have to subsidize the recovery of that land for Pawtucket somehow.
Absolutely.
We'll have to think about that one.
Absolutely.
But you have an idea about Providence in another way. You're not suggesting that it's the end of the world to have them move to Providence. You just don't like the 195 land, right?
I have a problem with the one. That is the crown jewel of land development in the city.
You'd rather see it
forever.
where?
Well, we have a working waterfront near Allens Avenue, and there's a fringe area beyond the working waterfront where there's some gentlemen's clubs and things like that.
Right. Yeah, we got the smut business pretty well locked up here. I'd love to see that raked
Take
out.
that out. Put a stadium there. I'd be happy about that. Buy that land at market.
Down where
do
Buddy
it there.
Cianci actually during the campaign provided drawings about a potential park down there.
It would be I think it would be a nicer venue, and you know, you mentioned a place that's at the sort of the.
Yeah, there's a land on there's 6 acres or so off Point Street. As you come 195 to 95, folks, take a look at it. It's 6 acres in there. I've been talking about it on the radio. Bottom line is, listen, I love your articulate advocacy for your position. I hope that you'll engage these guys when I bring them on, and they're coming on, and be a voice.
Well, just ask them for the data. Make them show us why it's going to work.
Exactly, and again, I don't want to pigeonhole myself into the guy that says, "Yeah, let's build it." And, you know, if you build it, they will come. We need to see the data. But I just worry that every new entrepreneurial idea that comes around the pike, controversial or not, that we immediately pigeonhole it into the dirty deal.
Again, this one comes with the handout. If this deal came without the handout, then I would be for it. Go take a shot at it. Free enterprise. Go for it. But the fact that, you know, on day one it's, oh, by the way, we want the land for nothing, puts them right in the same bucket with our long and checkered history. And this is my home state, so I know it well.
I promise you, Worcester will say anything you want next time. Thank you for coming. One thought, and we come back. So again, the Paw Sox ownership has a walk around their proposed 195 land thing going on tomorrow, and we'll follow that and come back. Listen, we need to find out what the deal looks like. We need to keep an open mind about ideas. And if the ideas don't flush out well, then we can say no. I think Lou made some interesting arguments. We'll have him back. It's great to have you. See you on the radio tomorrow at noon on WPRO and back here at 7:30 tomorrow night. Good night.